Hi, and welcome to another video by Jimthecarguy. Today I'm going to show you how to check a battery and a charging system to make sure that the battery is the problem and not something else with the vehicle itself. Now, there's different test equipment out there. This just happens to be the one that I'm using. It's by a company called Top Don. You will look in my store down below and you'll see this unit here in my store. I believe there's some other test equipment in there as well for testing the batteries, the charging system, and everything to make sure that it's working properly. But today I'm going to be using this one here. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go underneath the hood and we're going to gain access to the negative and the positive cable so we can do our test on here. The most important thing to do is to find out what it's called a CCA, cold cranking amps. You need to put the input into this unit here, what the cold cranking amps are, before you can test it to accurately make sure that the battery is no good. All right, so let's get underneath the hood, let's see what it is, and let's get this thing started, and let's get it done. Okay, so now we're under the hood, and we are going to test the battery to make sure it is no good. Now you can see right here how it says the CCA is 520 amps. So that's what we're going to input into this unit right here so we can test it. Now we want to gain access to the two terminals, our positive. As you can see, our negative is wide open, but our positive is not. So we're going to take this cover here, we're going to lift this off and out of the way, because when you just lift this up here, there's really not that much room. Okay? So we're going to come over here, we're going to press this in, rock it back and forth. And we can take that off just like that. Okay, then we're going to take our test, put our positive onto our positive. Our red cable is positive, black is negative. We're going to connect our other cable up right over here. And now we're going to come into this unit right here. We're going to wait for it to come alive. Then we're going to hit OK. And we're going to test the battery. Comes up right here. We're going to test the battery, the cranking amps. We could test all of this, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to test the battery. So let's hit OK. We're going to go into the battery itself. There's all different kind of batteries that you have. You can put in the one that is your particular battery. We're going to hit OK one more time, and now it's going to ask you. I hope you can see that. Can you see how it calls? Yeah, CCA, and then we're going to hit OK again, and this is already set for 520 CCA. All right, and we know that that's what it's called for right here. Now, if yours calls for 600, then of course you would just adjust this up to the 600. But in this case, it's 520, so we're going to bring it down to 520. Okay, 520. We're going to hit OK, and it's going to do its testing. And you can see what it says here. Pretty much clear as can be. Replace the battery. You can see that it's only 8.73 volts, and as far as the CCA, it's only 45 CCA. Hope you can see that. It's only 45 CCA. So we do need to replace the battery. So now we know that our battery is no good and it needs to be replaced. We could jump start the vehicle and test the charging system, but you will not get an accurate reading when you have a battery that's dead. The alternator is going to go to full field and it's going to overproduce to get the dead battery charged up. My recommendation, if your battery is more than 3 years old, the original battery, replace it, put the new battery in, and then do your charging system test after the new battery is in, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Batteries, even though like this vehicle here is an 18, which means it's 3 years old, you would think that 3 years is more than enough time for a battery to still be good. But in this particular case, it was built, when you look on the door, it tells you the vehicle was built in 5 of 17, which means that that battery was put in 5 of 17, so we know that that battery is more than 3 years old, so we're not going to play around, we're just going to change it. All right, so I'm going to replace the battery, put the new battery in, and then we're going to check the charging system. All right, so let's continue. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to continue with our testing of the alternator to make sure it's charging properly. All right, so come on over and let's continue. Okay, so let's do our testing now just to confirm that the alternator is okay. We're going to take this off here again just so you can gain access to it like this. Okay, and then we're going to take this, connect it onto the battery here, connect it onto the battery here, and then we're going to follow the prompts on the screen here. Now we're going to do a cranking test first. So we're going to hit cranking test. I hope you can see that. Okay, so we're on the cranking test right now. We're going to go in the vehicle now and we're going to crank it and test it. Start the engine. So it's testing. It says cranking normal 10.72 volts. So that we're okay with. So now we're going to go back. We're going to do a charging system test right now. Down the charging system, we're going to hit OK. It's testing now the ripple. It's load testing. Increase RPMs to 2500 and keep it there for 5 seconds. Press enter to continue. So let's raise the engine speed up for 5 seconds. Okay, and then we're going to hit enter to continue. All right, charging system is normal. Under load is 13.7 volts. Unloaded 13.86, and the ripple is perfect. Okay, so the charging system is normal. All right, let's shut this off. Okay, so that's it. This job is done. The battery is tested to see what was wrong with it. We started the vehicle using the booster pack, and we also replaced the battery with a new one. And then after we installed the battery, we did the alternator test just to make sure that there was no other problems with the alternator. All right, this job is done. And the battery that I use, the Interstate battery, just so you know, this battery will last 5 years, unlike the original or the OEM or some of the aftermarket batteries that only last 3 years. These batteries will last you 5 years before you have to replace it again. Invest in a good battery. My recommendation, never use a poorer quality battery, even though it's a few bucks cheaper. It's in the long run, it's not right for your vehicle. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, you could have jump-started it, charged the battery up and driven it, it would have been okay. It's true. It probably would have been okay till the next time you get in the vehicle and it wouldn't start. But to remember one thing, that every time you boost a car, when you drive it around, your alternator is working overtime to charge up that battery and bring it back up to 100%. If you have a battery that's a weak battery or one that's borderline and not quite right, that alternator is going to work like mad to try to charge it back up to 100%. My recommendation, if you have a battery that's 3 years old and it goes dead, don't play around, change it. I've seen it too many times where people continually jump start a vehicle and drive it, and they wind up destroying their alternator because they overload the alternator. All right, that's it. This job is done, and we're on to the next. All right, as always, thanks for watching. Stay cool, and I'll see you guys on the next one.